Making friends as a 30-something-year-old adult is a whole situation. And I'm doing it. I'm out here doing the thing, trying my best. But it is a situation. There's all kinds of ish involved. There's some awkward ish involved. There's some like really straightforward ish involved. There is just personal ish and noises and voices that you have to navigate in your head. It's a whole thing. Especially for those of us who friendships were something that we wanted in our lives, but they were not necessarily a big part of our lives in ways that were healthy. Welcome to the room. Let's talk about it. Because your girl was always the one who was the listener in my friendships from I was very, very small. As early as I can remember, I was the one who was listening to everybody else's ish. And my friends at the time had a lot of ish. Whether it was parents in the middle of a divorce or parents being a pain in the rear end or having to go stay with other family members because of whatever's happening at home or like so much emotional trauma at that age that I was carrying for other people, not necessarily for myself. And I think that I sort of fell into that role because I was always the young person who was very ready to find my nose in a book. And so I got very good at being at the edge of a crowd. Um being the I wouldn't even say a wallflower because a wallflower is typically looking on. Your girl ain't looking at nobody. She found her own little world in this corner over here. She brought her library books. She is reading. She ain't paying you no mind. Like if there's food being served, her parents have to come get her to get the food because she is reading. Okay? And she not gonna stop for nobody. And I remember being called antisocial actually at a very young age because of it. And I think a big part of my retreating was that I wasn't comfortable with people. And I don't know at what stage exactly that began, but I remember being that way at like 7, 8, 9 years old as a young girl. And so this is something that carried on for a lot of my life. And so it was very easy for me to be the one who listened because in a room, in a crowd of people, I wasn't taking up space anyway. I wasn't the center of attention. I was not being heard. And so the problem with being the listener, of course, is that you don't take up space in the relationship. And so for a lot of my life, my friendships, a lot of my young life, and a lot of my journey in friendship, I was the one who didn't have space in the relationship. And for a lot of my life, I remember saying, I don't have any friends. I don't belong anywhere. No one really understands me. Anybody else ever said those things? I feel like that's the refrain of every teenager ever. But I was saying it from before I was even a teenager. So, this was a very long span of life where I really wanted to belong and I wanted to be seen and I wanted to be heard and I wanted to be in community. But every single day I went to school, I was the listener, I wasn't heard. And the group of friends that I had, I didn't have space in. And mostly because those kids didn't know how to make space. It's not because they were necessarily mean or they were deliberately taking advantage of me. I mean, these kids were just never taught to make space. And I was never taught to take up space. And quite frankly, I don't know if I think I was of the mind at the time that I wasn't going to force myself on anyone. I wasn't going to force my voice into a conversation. And I wanted to be invited. I didn't want to have to take initiative in the friendship. And to be completely honest with you, I think that over the years, having those experiences, the story that I started to tell myself was that friends are not something that I genuinely get to have on a day to day basis in my life. and that people hurt people. And therefore, in order to not be hurt and in order to not be rejected, because all of the stories that my friends were telling me were full of rejection in some way, shape, or form. And I watched the people, these friends that I care about, in addition to people in my own life, like people in my own family, etc. I watched them get rejected in relationships. And so I learned everywhere I went, in school, at church, like everywhere, that people hurt people and I am better off, low key, by myself. So nobody can hurt me, and they wouldn't listen to me anyway. And I would just end up being the listener. So it's okay. I can be by myself, have my books, live my life. It's fine. And I think that I stuffed my desire for belonging way down in my heart. And it was a pain. It was a pain that just sat there for years. But I kind of stuffed it down. So I didn't feel it every way and drowned it out in escapism. Chelsea was reading fantasy at like whatever age. Werewolves and vampires were my regular life. Okay. At a young age. I mean, come on. We didn't watch Avatar The Last Airbender for nothing. Okay. So like this was my life from early, very much like by myself in my own world, came out to be the listener and be the safe space for everybody else, but I didn't have that for myself really. And I think when I got to college in a big way, especially in the last year of college, it was mostly in the last year, I figured out, I think I got exposed to enough opportunities to socialize and work a room and network. I was like a career counselor in the career center at my school. I was a writing tutor in the writing center at my school. And then I became a president student advisor, which was like you were basically, for any alumni or any special events that they were having at the school, you would represent the student body. And so because I learned, and actually my writing tutoring started in my second year of college. So I learned to like introduce myself to people, rant, like talk to people. I developed the skill because I don't think I had it before. I developed the skill of talking to people, being warm, being personable, being welcoming, relating to people regardless of their background or what they look like, being the one to go up to somebody and start a conversation, and practicing that, like both in training because you were trained. Like at my career center, we had networking events and trainings all the time. Like we were trained on how to do these things. But also in practice, like doing this over and over again. I think I started to develop the skill of like networking and learning how to be in a room and take up space, even if the relationship was a professional relationship and not necessarily a personal one. And then as I mean, I left college, came home, started working online. That skill translated slowly but surely. And then I think gradually what started to happen was I got more and more comfortable doing it, such that my natural personality started to come out. My warmth, how I laugh all the time, all those kind of things started to creep in. And that enabled me to take up space in a really authentic way, a way that is true to myself. And in a really, not necessarily surprising, but fascinating, beneficial, good turn of events that attracted people to me in yeah, in a really great way. And now I have some really awesome friendships, but all of them are online. I only have a couple really close friends. um 80% of my friendships are online and 20% are in real life. And those friends that are real life friends, I don't see them every day. One of them lives on a completely different, in a completely different country, like not anywhere near me. And the other friendships that I have, I don't see them on a regular basis. And so now I find that oh, and by the way, none of these people are grouped. Like there's no, It's like Chelsea and this person, or Chelsea and this person, or Chelsea and this person. There's no like friend group. There's no doing life together. There's no me and the girls. It ain't nothing like that. And it's something I've always wanted. I've always wanted community. I've always wanted to belong somewhere. I've wanted to share interests and share perspectives and opinions with people for a very long time, with like-minded people. And you don't have to, like, when I say like-minded, it's not like you have to think exactly the same way as me, but you do have to think at the same sort of depth, and like the critical examination, the turning things over, the wanting to learn, the wanting to explore, and like the varied interests. These are the things that I would hope for in a community that I can do life with. But your girl don't have that right now. And she's never really had that, because even the friendships that I do have, they are all centered on a couple of different things. Dear friends, but very centered on like business, or at least I came to know them through business. And so we continue to connect in a big way through business. The real life friends that I have, and when I say real life, I mean I've met them in person. I've done life with them in some way, even if I'm not currently doing life with them now on a regular basis. And they're all long distance friendships, because even if they're not long distance physically, like one particular friend I'm thinking of, she lives in the US, Chelsea lives in Jamaica. I don't see her multiple years in a row. We talk all the time. But it just depends on like if she comes here or if I go there. I might not see her. Like I did I see her? I saw her last year. I did see her last year. But there was a stretch in our friendship, and she's a high school friend. There was a stretch in our friendship where I did not see her for multiple years at a time. And so that's a regular thing for us. We just know that we have a WhatsApp friendship, and that's what it is. And that's the case with a lot of my friends here in Jamaica as well. Like I don't see them all the time. It's just a WhatsApp deal. And so yeah, that's kind of how it has been up until this point. And thankfully, in all of these friendships, I am no longer just the listener. And like I said, I think the skill set that I developed in college of learning to take up space in a room gradually translated into my friendships. And then also, I think I think this is like a twofold thing. One is I stopped believing that if people didn't ask about me, they didn't care. Um, because I realized that that was causing me to not share my full self and to not take up space. And that wasn't beneficial for me, and it wasn't beneficial for the friendship. And just because people don't have the skill of asking how you're doing doesn't mean they don't care about you. And they just might not have developed that skill. And so I started volunteering more in terms of how I'm doing, the things I'm thinking about, the things I'm interested in, etc. Um, and I don't do it all the time, but I do try. I do try my best. And then I think the other thing that really helped me was starting to try to be a lot more intentional about these friendships. So we have Zoom calls booked. Okay. Like I love to schedule my friends in my calendar. I know for some people that feels very like too professional. As a matter of fact, I have one friend. She's always low key. I know she's not mad at me, but she teases me all the time because I'm like, sis, can we just book a call? Can we just book a time? If we book a time, it will happen. She ain't never want to book no time. So I call her at random times when she's not available. She calls me at random times when I'm not available. And we know we love each other. We randomly catch up at unscheduled, again, random times. But we rarely ever sit down and have a talk now, because she hates the idea. She's so resistant to the idea of booking a time in my calendar, of telling me like, here, Chelsea, on this date at this time, I am free. And I really operate on my calendar. So it's just a funny, it's a funny situation. Um, but yeah, those are the kind of friendships that I have now. It's like I started being a lot more intentional about ensuring that like I have time and I schedule time to talk to my friends. And even when I'm not feeling 100%, and my friend messages me, I'll answer and say, "Hey, I'm not feeling chatty right now, but tell me what you got going on. I can do a quick call." Or I send a voice message, "Hey, we haven't talked in a while, just letting you know I'm okay. I'm not in a talking mood, but I'm good." Um so yeah, I think those things have really helped me to establish good friendships, like good one-on-one friendships. And as an introvert, I thrive on one-on-one friendships as well. Like that is peak peak vibe for me is a one-on-one friendship. I don't necessarily gravitate towards group friendships. That now hear me. When I say I don't gravitate towards it, that does not mean I would not want a friend group. I would love for there to be Chelsea's going out with the girls one day, but I don't have that yet. And I think one thing that is helping me to overcome, well, not even overcome is not the right word, it's more so to establish, and I'm on the path to establishing that kind of a friend group. One thing that's putting me on that path is the outsiding that I started to do in 2025. I started outsiding in 2025, and I think that has helped me because now that I go places, I see people, right? And I see, because I go to the types of places that most people who may end up being my friends also go to, I end up seeing people in multiple places. So I would go to like Korea Fest and I would see people who are also the same people who I see at my young adult Christian group that I go to on Monday night, who are also the same people that I will see at like a concert, who are also the same people that I will see at like a jazz vibe. Like the crossover starts to happen multiple times. And I think once you start to see people over and over again, you start to remember, like, oh, yeah, this person, this person, this person. And so it makes you more likely to then receive things like invitations, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that is helping me. It hasn't helped me all the way to an invitation yet, but I do think it is helping me. That's the first thing. I think I want to continue to do that this year. A lot of these things are sometimes it's like 50-50 whether or not it's planned or not planned. Because the last two music engagements that I went to were not planned. They were like day before. um and my brother is a musician, so he'll be like, "Chelsea, you coming to this thing?" I'm like, how much is it?" And then he tells me the amount, and I'm like, maybe, okay. And I end up going. And so I think that serves me, and I want to continue to do more of that. But I think the thing that I really was hoping to lean into this year, and I haven't just yet, but it is on my radar, and more than likely will be what I lean into for Q3 and Q4, is intentionally creating opportunities for people to come with me and for us to be friends in a room together physically in the same space. Um, because, for example, I've mentioned before how I am learning French, and something that I did once or maybe twice. I don't remember how many times I did it last year. Was I went to, here in Jamaica we have I think I think it's called Language Link Up JA. Think that's what it's called. And so it's this event that happens at almost once a quarter, thereabouts, where you meet up with other people who are practicing different languages and learning different languages, and you get to practice. You split up into groups and you all kind of talk amongst yourselves. And it was really fun when I went, but it is far from me. And it doesn't happen on a regular basis. And so when I went and was able to practice French that night, um, we at that French table were like, okay, let's start a French group. And I joined the group and I kind of rallied everybody, I think once or twice after that, to meet up in person to practice French. I think it maybe was one time. In any case, It was a really casual meetup. I didn't know none of these people, but the fact that like I just put out the invitation to say, "Hey guys, do you want to do this? When do you want to do this?" And I think a lot of us, including myself, like to be invited, and so we wait to be invited. And as we wait to be invited, everybody likes to be invited, and no one likes to do the inviting. We like to receive, but it's a different story to coordinate, right, and to issue the invitation. And so what that ends up being is that we never actually meet up with people. We never actually have grab opportunities to be physically in a potential friend group, and therefore we don't get to know people who could be a potential friend group, and therefore we don't have a friend group. So Chelsea is pursuing trying to create a friend group. And one of the ways that I want to do that is through this French thing. I want to maybe host a couple French link ups this year where we just meet up at some place, Devon House or somewhere like that. And we just get together and practice French. And we eat some food and we talk about what we're eating and we have fun. I also I want to do this in a variety of different areas of my life. I also did it for like my birthday, my 33rd birthday. And that was really, really cool to be able to actually like gather a group of women who all love me and care about me. I don't typically have parties, y'all. And it felt the vibe, probably because it was my birthday, but the vibe was 100% like peak friend group. We're having fun. We're chit chatting. We're talking about life. We're lavish. Like the vibe was it. The vibe was giving what it was supposed to give, and I want that more in my life. And so I'm working on creating that this year for sure, for sure. But as of right now, as of right now, that's not where we are. And so we're just gonna continue to build, um lean into the deep friendships that I do have because they are a blessing, continue to unlearn the things that I have told myself, the stories I've told myself around like how people will hurt me and the pain of rejection and waiting to be invited, and practicing the creating the space that I want in the world and creating the opportunities for community and friendships and friend groups that I want in the world. Even though I'm a natural introvert and I would rather do one-on-one for the rest of my life. That's not actually true because I do want groups. I do want groups of people that I can do life with. So yeah, would love to hear about your own experiences if you are in the process of creating a friend group in your 30s. If you are in the process of having your first proper friendships where you actually take up space and are seen and known and understood in your 30s, please drop a comment below or feel free to DM me on Instagram. I would love to hear and talk with you directly over there as well as in the comments. Either way works. Thank you for tuning into today's video, y'all. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.